My husband is crazy. I can't kick him out of my own house. That's why I called my dad. My husband and I have been experiencing significant challenges for quite some time now, encompassing both mental health and financial issues. Consequently, the romantic aspect of our relationship has completely dissipated from my perspective, and our repetitive monthly discussions lead to emotional breakdowns on my part, while he seems incapable of understanding the appropriate steps forward as adults. We are a couple in our early 30s, myself being 32 and my husband 28. With the dawn of the new year, I've made the decision to prioritize my own well-being, perhaps selfishly, after spending 6 years ensuring our basic needs were met: shelter, food, and general livelihood. My husband struggles to maintain employment, attributing his inability to chronic pain and mental health issues, which he is only now beginning to address. However, my current feelings are not rooted in these long-standing issues or even about a meal he failed to prepare. On New Year's Day, a day when my family traditionally prepares a specific meal that my husband has enjoyed since I first introduced it to him, nothing was done in preparation. After spending the day running errands with my mother, I returned home to find that no chores had been completed, including the meal preparation, which is simple enough for even children in our family to make. Despite his claims of intending to prepare the meal before my return, he did nothing. His repeated excuses and lack of initiative leave me feeling deeply frustrated and undervalued, especially when it becomes evident that he relies on me to fulfill tasks he commits to, but does not complete. It's almost evening now, and as I finish preparing the meal and distributing it to family members, a tradition for the person who cooks, I sit here overwhelmed by tiredness, annoyance, and frustration. It's hard to believe that this pattern of helplessness and procrastination can define our future together. Despite his eventual praise for my cooking, his lack of participation makes me reluctant to share the meal with him. His habitual promises of action that never materialize feel like more than just empty words. They feel like a disregard for our partnership. I'm sharing this not because I expect a solution, but rather in hopes of connecting with others who might have faced similar situations. It's a comfort to know one is not alone in navigating such challenging dynamics within a relationship. Edit. Navigating our relationship has been particularly challenging due to both of us being neurodivergent. Recently, my husband has sought professional help, engaging with a psychiatrist and a therapist to address his depression and what might be complex post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD. On my end, I feel a pang of guilt admitting that while I've had my own battles during the initial years of our relationship, I took steps to seek help. Now, with medication and therapy, I've managed to find some stability. Despite my struggles, I was always the one hustling to ensure our survival, securing rent money, getting our utilities turned back on, and essentially keeping us afloat. My love for him is undeniable. He can be incredibly tender and caring, yet I find myself feeling emotionally numb. We've both made mistakes in the past, but I've consistently been the one shouldering our responsibilities, and it's wearing me down. I've reached a point where I can no longer prioritize someone else's well-being over my own, especially when it feels like they're not investing in their self-care. The constant need to manage everything, from taking care of our pets and maintaining our vehicle to handling household chores and ensuring our pantry is stocked, has left me exhausted and depleted. My commitment to our relationship remains strong, but the imbalance in our partnership has taken its toll. The emotional labor of continuously stepping up is overwhelming, and I'm yearning for a sense of reciprocity and shared responsibility that seems elusive. First update. After returning home from work today, my husband and I had a significant conversation over the phone. I expressed my deep need for tangible change in our relationship, not just empty promises followed by no action. He defensively argued that my focus has been overly negative, highlighting his shortcomings while overlooking his efforts, such as partially cleaning our bedroom but then forgetting to feed our outdoor animals due to being preoccupied. He pointed out my imperfections as well, suggesting that I, too, have my faults. I acknowledged my imperfections but emphasized my ability to take responsibility for my actions and inactions. The past 4 years have been particularly challenging for us, especially in terms of employment stability. Whenever one of us managed to secure a job, the other would end up unemployed for one reason or another. However, I've recently made strides by finding the right medication, enrolling in graduate school and enduring a taxing job which I eventually left due to undergoing major surgery, a time during which he offered little support. Despite needing help with household tasks like laundry and sweeping, he argued that my tendency to take charge prevented him from contributing more actively. This summer, our frustrations culminated in our first significant argument, after which I felt utterly exhausted with the situation. It was a turning point where I realized something had to change. He recently secured a straightforward job, which seemed well within his capabilities given his past experience in managing and assisting with the opening of restaurants, though he often left these positions due to minor grievances or discomfort. The job was conveniently located, offered a positive work environment, decent pay, and appeared to be an ideal situation. He assured me that with this job I could focus on my studies full-time, aiming to complete my degree and improve our financial situation. However, not long after, he began missing workdays, leading to us falling behind on our bills. This forced me to seek full-time employment alongside my full-time studies, a clear sign that relying on him was not feasible. His inability to manage finances or handle minor issues without my intervention became increasingly apparent. Despite feeling overwhelmed, I'm determined to stay in my house, which technically belongs to my parents, and not leave. Upon returning home today, I found that he had created a monthly schedule and plan, an attempt to demonstrate his commitment. Although I had previously expressed a desire for him to outline his intentions clearly, the gesture now seemed too basic and insufficient. He had cleaned part of the kitchen and warmed up leftovers for dinner, tasks I am perfectly capable of handling myself. I need him to undertake more significant responsibilities. He is indeed my best friend, but the realization that our current way of living is unsustainable has become painfully clear. Today's conversation confirmed my fears that he is unlikely to change. These schedules and lists appear to be mere superficial attempts at showing effort. I am exhausted from the continuous deceit and manipulation. It seems the only solution is to send him back to his mother's care. I hope to successfully follow through with this decision this time. Wish me luck. Update 2. I once again broached the subject of divorce with him. His reaction was intense. He wept so vehemently that it seemed as though his very life was ending. He even went as far as to threaten his own life, claiming he couldn't exist without me. I reminded him that I had been requesting a divorce since our major altercation in July. Despite this, he insisted that things seemed fine between us afterward. I questioned him, asking how he could possibly think we were okay when I've been breaking down monthly, crying in the bathroom, pleading for him to change and end this vicious cycle. How could he think our marriage was normal when I had to maintain a facade of civility just to limit my crying to twice a week instead of daily? He was supposed to return to his home state weeks ago and had agreed to do so, saying he would do whatever made me happy. Then he shifted the narrative, claiming his therapist sided with him, and brought up issues like insurance and how I was abandoning him, leaving him with nothing. He highlighted that he had no vehicles in his name, since I purchased them, no job or money, and essentially would be left with nothing without me. I pointed out that these were considerations he should have made before things escalated to this point. We attempted to pick up a rental car for him twice, driving an hour to the airport in snowstorms, only for there to be issues with the reservation each time, forcing us to return home empty-handed. He needs to take a significant amount of his belongings with him to avoid shipping them later. I apologize if this message seems disjointed. I took a break from crying to write this. Ironically, I've been enjoying the best weekend in a while. We had agreed to a legal separation on New Year's, granting me freedom, though he expressed a desire not to know about any of my romantic encounters. However, he's become upset and possessive whenever I go out, despite the fact that I now spend more time away from home than at it. Thankfully, yesterday had all the makings of a wonderful day. I was in high spirits, eagerly anticipating a night out with my friends. However, just as I was getting ready, he entered the bathroom under the guise of wanting to talk, which quickly escalated into an argument. The intensity of my emotions left me sobbing uncontrollably, struggling to catch my breath. We seemed to be stuck in a loop, having the same argument over and over, using the same words each time. He claims his only wish is for my happiness, but his actions contradict his words. He mentioned receiving job offers, planning to return to a previous employer, and presented a plan to resolve our financial issues within 4 months. My response was that it was too little, too late. He argued that my decision to leave was unfair, especially now that he's seeking therapy for his mental health issues. He reminded me of my own struggles in 2019, as if to imply that I owe him the same patience he extended to me during our lowest points, when we lived out of a Jeep, struggled academically, worked unsatisfying jobs, and I endured a devastating miscarriage. Despite those hardships, I was the one who kept us going, ensuring we had enough for gas, food, or a safe place to park. I've come to realize that I can no longer sacrifice my well-being for his comfort. I told him that if he refuses to leave, he might as well stay in another room and witness firsthand how I move on with my life. But without his willingness to sign divorce papers, I feel like I'm condemned to remain in this marriage indefinitely. I feel like a trapped animal, willing to endure any pain for a chance at freedom. He has never been physically abusive or overtly threatening, but his refusal to let me go has left me feeling utterly trapped. I'm desperate for a way out, praying for a solution. Before updating, I will respond to your interesting comments. Commenter: do you live in a no-fault divorce state? You likely don't need his consent to actually initiate the divorce. Only one person needs to want out of the contract, and honestly, he won't let you out? Get another place. Shut off the utilities to this one. Let him squat in a powerless, waterless building as long as he likes. Stay somewhere else for a few months, somewhere he doesn't know about, and wait. Sounds like you're already taking care of the bills and whatnot. Something's gotta give, love. But it can't be you. It's time for you to fly. You can't let this man ground you. Whenever you have to engage with him when he tries to argue, don't gray rock. Take every feeling and cram it into a little corner or box. We can deal with those later where he can't see. When he can see, you need to give him nothing. No emotions, no expressions, nothing but cold, dead, blank eyes. No inflection in your voice. 1 or 2 word answers. Don't even fucking look at him. If you have to, don't make eye contact. Look just to the side or above his eyes, but don't give him eye contact. He is no longer worth your feelings, or time, or effort. You save those for people who matter. If he corners you to talk, don't engage. Space out. Keep that face blank and those eyes dead. Think of how wonderful it will be once you're finally fucking free. You can do this. My answer: thank you so much for your words. I felt so weak and lost this weekend. I was so powerful and happy this whole week. Happy, bouncy. Everyone noticed I was the happiest I had been in years. Last intriguing update. We hit a rough patch. He was about to leave, but then chose to stay in the spare room. He got his old job back at a fast food place, but his truck is too broken to be driven legally, which is why he didn't go back to his home state. At first, my parents seemed supportive, then not so much, until things really blew up last night. My dad was incredibly supportive when I needed him. I tried to keep things calm with my soon-to-be ex-husband, who has BPD and accused me of cheating during our separation. We argued in circles until I went to my parents' house for support. My dad encouraged me to stand up for myself, reminding me that being kind is both my strength and weakness, but it was time to take control without being mean. After talking with him, I tried to talk calmly with my ex again, but it quickly went downhill. Despite his hurtful words and accusations, I stood firm on my decision for a divorce, making it clear he could only express his anger in his room. Things escalated when he threatened to harm himself and asked to be taken to the hospital. We were driving and he was very angry, saying he wouldn't have stayed if he didn't think we had a chance. I was so honest with him. I was so nervous and scared that I accidentally hit my truck with my car. At one point, as we were driving to town, he tried to jump out of the car. I told him he needed help and wasn't safe on his own. He said he would harm himself after being released from care. I didn't feel anything except the need to get to our destination safely. When we arrived, he yelled at me more than ever before. He wanted to go back home, but I told him he needed to get better first. After arguing, I finally convinced him to get help if he really cared about me. I was crying, and he said he loved me and wanted me to say it back. I just asked him to get better, and he went inside for care. My dad talked to me before work and said now was the time to act because he didn't want him at our house anymore. So I called his mom to arrange for him to go back to his home state with his parents or a friend after being released. There's no other choice. Last night, I let out all my feelings and now I feel free. I did it. I can breathe and move on. He said he wouldn't sign the divorce papers, but I know a judge will handle it, so it's okay. I don't believe what he said last night, and I'm sure my life is going to be great. How do you like this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.